Hello everybody and welcome to the Real Housewives Edit. My name is Elle and I am here to talk about the two loves of my life, editing and housewives. Today I'm going to be doing part 2 of the part 3 Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Reunion. Sorry if that's confusing. My part 1 of this part 3 reunion, oh my gosh, I can't say all that, is already up, so if you haven't seen that, go check it out. But we're just gonna go right from where I left off in that last video. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking the video, sharing it. I'm just going to jump into the second part of this part 3 reunion of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Let's go.
I want to talk about the final night in Aspen when you all went clubbing.
Okay.
Kathy, what happened that night to send you kind of over the edge?
Well, okay, so I'm thinking, all right, I want everybody to have fun. I go over to the DJ. He's got headphones. He's looking down.
Okay, so Andy asked the question.
Kathy, what happened that night to send you kind of over the edge?
Good interviewers can do this so well. They can get an affirmation of something that people have been wondering about without the person who's being asked knowing, right? So he didn't say something like, so did you actually have a meltdown? Because you know she would say like, I was upset, but it wasn't a meltdown, right? Or I wasn't over the edge. So instead he phrased the question like, so what brought you over the edge? Not really giving her an out. And of course, because I don't know, I feel like we're all like pretty sure that she did have a meltdown in Aspen. She's like, well, this is what brought me over the edge, which I think is just an interesting thing. And then they cut back to Andy and he's doing his little nod, almost like a shady nod. I was like, Andy is so good at this stuff.
He doesn't see me, so I get frustrated. I go back into the room and there's a manager. I said, if I gave you money, would you put some songs on for us, my friends and I, to dance? And he said, no, it's way too busy in here. No, not tonight, not tonight. I said, really, I'm not a member, but for 30 years that I've come here on and off, they have taken a request, as they do.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with the editing, but it just is kind of funny the way people tell their truth versus like what could have happened. Like someone else could tell this exact same story and be like, Kathy Hilton was such a entitled. They could say like, oh, she came in and she said, I've been coming here for 30 years and they always put on music and I'm gonna pay you money to do it and you better do it, that sort of thing. But the way she's telling it, she makes it sound like so like sweet and nice and cordial. Not an editing note, but I just love how anyone can take a story and sway it the way that they want to sway it. I've done this a bajillion times. Trying to explain something to my husband about a conversation I had, the way I explain it maybe is like a little bit nicer than what actually went down. And I feel like she was more worked up than what she is actually explaining here, which I think is just funny anyway. All right.
They do in the south of France or London and Paris. And I think that annoyed him. So he looked at me and he said, where are you from? And I said, LA. He goes,
and when she says all that and they show this little reaction of Erica kind of closing her eyes too long, you know, when we do that, we're sort of like annoyed with whoever's talking. They could have picked any kind of reaction from Erica, but they picked that one.
He goes, then go back to LA. So I go, we're out of here. So I go over to Kyle to tell her what happened. And
another thing there, I believe they drew that pause out a little bit longer when she's telling this story. She says,
then go back to LA.
And then they show this reaction of Sutton, and it's almost like when they drew out this pause, they're kind of showing Kathy let this pause go, like, can you guys even believe he said that? But the reactions from everyone are so quiet, and like even Sutton's eyes are like, this isn't that bad. It's almost like they're trying to build, like Kathy is trying to say like, this was just horrible. Can you even believe he said that? When the reaction is really just like, that's not that big of a deal that he said that.
And she
wanted to stay.
Well, but yeah.
There's a reason behind that, Kathy. It's the way you speak to me. You came up and you didn't say, this guy just hurt my feelings. I'm so embarrassed. You said, we are out of here. Everybody saw.
I know.
And you looked at me like, you believe me now. And I was like, hold on a minute, Kathy. First
I'm
of all,
not proud of
I'm
that.
an adult. You can't talk to me like that and expect me to say, oh, okay.
Wow, watching Kyle sort of like do that impression of Kathy, I believe that 100,000,000% that that's how it went down.
What did you guys see?
I see Kathy coming.
Okay, so long drawn out pause after she does that exhale. We will never know if that pause was really there. We will never know if maybe Andy said something after that, like, oh, did you see something or something like that? But whatever it is, they created a pause because it's building what? It's building tension. We can tell by the look on her face, she's about to say something that's going to, you know, bring some walls down or really surprise us.
From the dance floor, very upset. I said, Kathy, what's wrong? She says, the DJ's an old and walked off.
Okay, so Andy's reaction shot to that. Obviously, he does not look very pleased with that, as he shouldn't, as none of us should be. And then her face, I'm not sure what you guys believe, but I do think the editors, you know, by kind of like showing these pauses, showing Andy, showing her kind of like start to get uncomfortable. Remember that moment before we even talked about this night? We could tell she was uncomfortable, that little okay.
Okay.
But I do think that they're not doing her really any favors with this part right here in terms of getting us to believe that she's like, I did not say that.
That is what happened.
I will admit to what I do, but I will not be painted to be this monster that you've tried to.
Those are your words. That's what you said to me.
Never, ever. Well, I'm just telling you.
I'm just telling you.
Nobody else heard that.
No, you said it to me directly.
Anyone that knows me
Kathy,
knows I don't
and
talk
anyone
like
that knows me knows I'm not lying. I have no.
Okay, so someone brought this up in my comments section. I was so glad that they did. She grabs a water bottle. You guys remember that moment before where Rinna's talking about those racist stories or tweets? Rinna grabs her water bottle and is very focused on the water bottle. It's really common that people grab stuff or try to do things with their hands, or all of a sudden they need a sip of water when they didn't need one before, and all of a sudden something itches or they have to go to the bathroom. When people get uncomfortable because of certain truths, they tend to want to distract. I'm definitely not like a body language expert, but honestly, when you edit, you learn so much about people. You are watching them, you know, in their moments in between takes. You're just watching people so intensely that you learn a lot of stuff, like a lot of like mannerisms and things like that over time. And I think that's been something that I really, really love about editing, creating videos or films or whatever like that, because you can really get to know body language and people.
I have nothing to lie about.
Really?
Yeah, really.
I have a little more credibility than you.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because I don't lie.
I don't either.
Those reactions, the reaction from Sutton and Garcelle in that 2-shot was just classic to me in that line. I think it was a really good line coming from Kathy. Erica must have, in that moment, because she just got her, right? She just got her. And I think we were all believing her. But then all of a sudden, Kathy's going here, and it's just like, ooh, this is... It's a good one.
I don't lie.
I don't either.
I have a sterling reputation.
Not right now, you don't.
I am not going to...
There was also an investigation into this, and it
Yes.
came down to
There was
a case of
investigation?
she said, she said.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
inconclusive.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just to say.
So,
Who investigated?
HR.
Oh, they do a big thing. Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so then when Andy says that, to me it feels like it's just the nail in the coffin. And like the editors can't leave that out about an investigation by HR. Obviously Erica went to HR, told them about this. Of course we're watching a reality TV show, but it is a set where people are moving about behind the scenes and they need to feel comfortable. And if someone feels like there's a cast member who says derogatory terms like that, or, you know, in like the case of like Potomac with Michael Darby, like the talent is actually making anyone feel uncomfortable because of their views or what they're actually doing, HR needs to know about it. So that was a little kind of interesting behind the scenes thing. And, you know, it's kind of gives a little bit more weight to Erica.
nothing came out in the press about Erica walking around with the big $250,000 Cartier ring
That I've had for
going
years.
around with a big crocodile bag
That I've
and a
had for
fur
20
coat.
years?
They're not yours.
They're
Those
not mine?
are not your belongings.
How do you know that?
Everybody knows that. And you have no remorse at all.
Wow, look at you trying to say.
So that reaction from Rinna where she's looking so pleased because she feels like Kathy got caught in something. And then at the end when she says,
everybody knows that.
Rinna's face, it almost like falls for a second, like, shoot, she just got her back good. And then she looks at Erica like, come on, give her something else. Give her something. It's like a game of tennis. We're like, who's gonna win?
Wow, look at you trying to save yourself.
I'm just saying to you.
No, listen, I bought that coat in Aspen many years ago. The Gucci purse is very old.
Okay, on a totally non-editor moment, like, what does that have to do with you bought the coat in Aspen? How is that explaining away that, you know, we feel like that's maybe not your belongings? I don't know if you buying the coat in Aspen changes it, or the fact that you have the Gucci bag you bought 20 years ago. I don't know. I think it's really funny how they leave this stuff in. They have to leave it in because it's character development for us, but it's also like you're watching it as an audience member. And again, like some of these moments you could take off the sound. Like if you just were watching Erica and there was no sound, she's so like just propped up. She looks like she knows exactly what she's talking about. But when you actually hear the words that are coming out of her mouth, you're like, that doesn't compute. They have to leave stuff in that even doesn't make sense if a character is saying it, because it kind of closes the loop on the conversation and it gives us some insight on like what's going on in their brain.
So that's what you saw. So Lisa, you say to Kathy, I'm gonna take you out.
Because she's making a scene.
I texted the cars and
And Crystal and I were gonna take her out.
Let's go.
So you went too.
But I couldn't get out.
Couldn't get out because she didn't have a coat.
Okay, so you and Kathy leave.
Yes.
And you go back to the house.
Well, we get into the Sprinter van first.
Okay.
So it's really where it started was in the Sprinter van.
And what started?
Kathy's meltdown.
Okay. We've gone over this little conversation so many times with Rinna, and I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but in this moment right here, I was like, like I kind of did a sigh when she's like, we started in the Sprinter van. It's like, we're not going to hear anything new today from her. Like, I don't know what you guys felt. I can tell the editors are trying because they're doing reaction shots of the other ladies looking almost like they're waiting to hear from Rinna. But honestly, I just don't think they're waiting to hear from her. Just like we're not really waiting to hear from her because we know what she's going to say. We've heard the story 1,000 times at this point. She actually told it like 5 minutes ago in the actual episode again. So it's like, okay, what are you gonna bring to us that's new here? I don't know what you guys think, but I was kind of waiting her to pull out those envelopes that she tucked behind her pillow. But I was like, if she tells that same story again, just with Kathy being present, like, boring.
And yelling and venting and saying things that I have never heard in my life.
This you recall.
I recall venting, thinking that we've known each other a long time. This is not being filmed. And I felt that I could talk to you. And, you know, halfway through it, do you recall?
So it's very quiet during this little moment.
Venting, thinking that we've known each other a long time. This is not being filmed. And I felt that I could talk to you.
No reactions from anyone else. We're seeing reaction shots, but everything is so quiet, like you can hear a pin drop. I really think they do that on purpose. I think they turn up anyone's mic who's talking. They take out everything else. They put like room tone in it just so you can hear that there's actually like a room behind her, you know, that there's actually like some sort of like natural sound. It just feels so like empty, cold, tension-filled as they're talking with absolutely no sound behind them. And I really think that that's an editor's choice.
Recall saying to me, I get it, I get it. You're preaching to the choir. Do you remember those words? Do you remember those words?
I don't exactly know
exactly.
Okay, so because we've seen Rinna lie get caught in lies before.
Did you or did you not say that my sister is close to death? And that she is not 100% sober and that I'm an enabler?
They also have reaction shots of like Erica looking at her like, oh, I've never heard that part of the story. And then she comes in with like, I just don't recall it. We as the audience are supposed to be like, oh, okay, this is juicier than hearing Rinna tell the story again because this is new information for us.
No,
Exactly.
But to want to take down NBC,
Oh,
Bravo,
please,
Evolution, the show, I'm going to get Kyle fired because I'm going to...
Lisa,
Kathy,
I'm just telling you.
you want
that's
you
not
want me
true.
to? Do you want me to tell the truth?
I'll
tell the truth.
So what do you guys feel about this? This is, I would just love to hear your thoughts. Do you think that she said all that, or do you think Lisa's like totally making it up? There's this part of my heart that's like, Lisa can't just like totally make things up. There's something about Kathy's reaction in that where she looks more comfortable than she was earlier. She seems to sort of relax, like, I'm good on all that. Like, my conscience is clear because that didn't happen. I would just love to know in the comments. Let me know.
Dorit is a stupid, useless idiot. Crystal and Sutton are pieces of useless idiots, should be fired. Can't believe I have to be around these peons. They need to go away.
Lisa,
I
I'm
have
gonna
to do
make you.
everything around here.
You are
This is
going
my
to
show.
take a lie detector
I have
test.
big deals over at NBC. Everyone's protecting me. I'll take NBC Bravo.
Okay, so what I thought was really interesting here was Andy's rattling off all of these things. They're showing these reaction shots of all of the women, like almost like they've never heard this before. I've also seen a lot of stuff online where people are talking about like, well, what did she actually say? And I'm like, Rinna said all of it. Am I going crazy? Can you guys like affirm this for me? Because she said all of this, but everyone's reactions are looking like they're hearing this for the first time. They're bringing in music.
Can't believe I have to be around these peons. They need to go away.
Like new information is coming out. You know, it's really exciting right now. And I was kind of watching this like, guys, we've heard all of this. Like, why are we acting like we're all just hearing this for the first time? Did anyone else feel like they were taking crazy pills? Because I was like, did I make this up? Like, that would definitely be something that would happen, is I would have a dream about like, oh, Rinna said all that, but no.
Bravo, I'll take down the show. I will destroy Kyle and her family if it's the last thing I ever do. Woo!
Yeah, all those reactions just feel totally, I don't know. They might be real, but I feel like maybe they're trying to build, because they're clearly trying to build to a commercial break here. And I feel like everyone's reactions are just a little bit big for stuff they've already heard before. I don't know what you guys think.
No, I don't.
It was so heartbreaking.
You know what I said to Lisa?
That I was on the other
I
end
know
of
that
this
you're having
abuse.
problems.
I'm having problems? What kind of problems am I having?
I don't know.
Wow. And then when she says that, what happens to the music?
To Lisa,
that I was on the other
I
end
know
of
that
this
you're having
abuse.
problems.
It's like the air is sucked out of the room. Why does it feel very reminiscent of the Amsterdam dinner? Just like what Kim said, I'm like, when they pull that music out and she says, I know you're having problems, all of us should be like, oh my gosh, tell us more. Tell us more about these problems. We need these problems. And of course, Lisa's gonna be like, my only problem is grief, and that's it. Okay.
No. And also, I'd like to talk about the text.
What text? Your text to me?
Yeah, guess what?
What?
It's not here.
Oh, that I made it up?
Well, it's not on my phone.
And
you know what I would like to do?
This was funny to me because I felt like Lisa totally relaxed in this moment, and they showed her reaction just being like, well, that definitely happened, so I don't have to worry about this one. I think it's just weird, the reactions that you get from people when they're probably telling the truth versus when they're maybe stretching the truth is so different. It's just mind-blowing to me.
Well, show me your text from Kathy.
I'll show you right here. There they are.
Okay, here is the text that she's talking about.
I didn't want to go here. I don't want to go here.
It's on there.
Yeah, you did.
So we get a close-up of Andy holding the phone with the actual text there, right? We get a shot of Kathy actually looking at her phone, shaking her head, sort of like, well, that's weird, because it's not on my phone. I thought this was she clearly just deleted the text from her phone, and she's like, they're not here anymore. And she's trying to catch her. It's just like, I just feel like, yeah, it gave me like my parents' vibes, like where technology is just a little bit, wasn't quite grown up with, let's put it that way. And so it's just a little bit more foreign. You could say this was almost like an endearing moment, but it also had some comic relief to it. It was also just like so like easily shut down just by Andy showing the actual text, and they got a close-up of that. I thought, yeah, this was funny to me.
Yeah, you did.
I had to lock myself in the bedroom.
I don't know why you would have to lock the door.
Because you were having a psychotic break. How would you think I would feel to hear that you want to destroy your sister?
But
I know something was cut out there. I just know it. When she says the psychotic break, I know for a fact Kathy came back with her, like, what the heck are you talking about? For some reason, they just showed a reaction shot and they went back to Lisa. I just couldn't see anyone ever. If someone said that to me about anything, and I just couldn't just react with my face and stay silent. There's just no way. But, you know, maybe she just said something similar to what she said before, and the editors are like, we got to move this along, so we're going to cut that out and just have her move it along. Versus Kathy's stuff right here is just, you know, from an editorial standpoint, it's again that tennis match. Rinna says something, Kathy says something. Rinna says something, Kathy says something. What's interesting here is there's not really much building going on. It just feels like they're doing the she said, she said, she said, she said, which in a fight, like, that's not very fun for us as an audience to watch, which is why I personally think they didn't do like a part 4 of this reunion, is because I think there was probably just a lot of like, no, you said this, no, you said this, no, you said this, like throughout the entire reunion, not just when Kathy came on. And they were like, we can't just do that, because it's just, there's no heightening, right? When they're just fighting about facts that none of us know the answers to, it's not that exciting to watch. Like, we don't like to just watch people fight. We like to watch it build and build and build, and people one up each other and build and build and build, and then explosion, and then they make up over drinks like a couple weeks later. That's what we as Housewives fans like to watch. And here, right here, like, I don't know if you guys started to check out during this Kathy stuff. It's hard for me to keep my attention on things. The Housewives does the best job of it. Out of any sort of like TV or movies, you should ask my family anytime it's movie night. Like, it's very hard for me to just like zone in on a movie or even kind of know what happened in the movie, because usually I'm like analyzing it like I do for you guys here. I'm like analyzing as I'm watching. My attention span can start to wane when I just don't see any heightening going on, because I'm just like, well, we'll never know. So I'm checking out. And so you'll see what they're about to do right now is they have to heighten it. They have to move on.
Group to, you know, outside of this, which just made our life more difficult, you know.
Did either one of you leak to the press any of this information about Kathy?
No.
It was someone who works for you.
Interesting.
The accusation was made.
So what they did is they really got out of that she said, she said, she said, she said, and they got into this other issue, which is really like what all of them were saying is actually affecting Kyle.
Was made that what happened in Aspen was leaked to the press. It was made that it came from you, right. Erica.
First off, Jack,
and on that whole thing, you know, having Kyle kind of break that little, you know, fight between Kathy and Lisa and just say like, you know, well, it was the stuff, the outside, the press leak or whatever. It's an editor's dream because they don't have to build a transition. We have to get off this topic. Let's move to the next one. And she did it with some like dramatic flair, which, yeah, an editor's dream.
Publicist has represented Nikki for
I don't think
years.
he would do it.
4 years.
Was there any part of you that wanted this out there in order to...
No, I wanted us to discuss it here because that's where the group is.
But nothing stays here anymore. Everything's on social media.
Right.
I understand
Well,
that.
that's right,
not...
Lisa. You're doing most of it.
I don't do most of it,
Yes, you
Garcelle.
do.
When I got home on Sunday from
Oh, that was so funny to me that Lisa was agreeing and then Garcelle's like, sorry, what? They were so funny to just flash to Lisa, like fully agreeing with that conversation when she is the perpetrator.
got a call from someone at TMZ asking about what happened in the club. So they already knew. They already knew something had gone down.
And my said it's out there 100%. I wish it never got out there.
Well, what happened was I apologized to Kyle. I go over to her house. I decide I'm going to make Kyle happy. I am going to apologize.
Okay, so again, this is again why I think they didn't do a part 4 of this reunion, is because a lot of this, what they're doing, and the editors have to leave it in, but they're rehashing what happened on the season without really adding much information to it. You know, if they did have stuff to add to it, that's when reunions get really exciting, like heightening, right, what we already know. But what we're just kind of doing is hearing from them all again, just like rehashing the exact same thing we already saw and talked about for millions of episodes.
Apologize to her on camera. Howdy, ma'am.
Howdy, ma'am. Come in.
These flowers are for you.
Thank you.
Just came in from the Ponderosa all the way from Cartwright City.
How are you?
Apologize. And then she says, oh, wait a minute.
Such a random flashback. Out of all of the flashbacks to pick, like, why did they let that one go out so far? Why didn't they just have her showing up at the door and then cut to them actually like hugging on the couch? Like that would have been a more kind of like heartfelt moment, but on purpose, they showed that entire like Ponderosa thing that she was doing, and it has the silly music in it. I was just like, that is such a random flashback. They could have made it more of a sentimental moment, but for some reason they decided not to.
Yeah, I would love to.
You can hang around. I'm getting blamed for that too.
I tried calling
gave you the
you.
option so
Why
we can move forward.
apologize to her though?
Because you did it to me.
But I tried
trying
calling you.
I was trying to keep it
willing to
quiet.
call you on the phone. You wanted it on
Did it
camera.
to me.
Baby, you wanted it on camera
You did it
because
to me.
your contract was coming up.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's true. And you needed some.
So Garcelle does that thing there. She does that kind of woo thing that she did.
That's true.
I don't know. I have to try it in the edit right now, but I have a feeling that's the reaction that they used when they were having Andy rattle off all the things that Kathy supposedly said to Rinna.
I will destroy Kyle and her family if it's the last thing I ever do.
Woo! Was that the same thing? I have to check right now in the edit. Let's check and watch.
True. And you
Kathy,
needed
do you
some
remember
drama
saying any of
because
these
I don't
things?
need
you
any
fight.
They do pull reactions from different parts of the day, different parts of the scene, especially when it's like a controlled scene, like a reunion where the lighting looks the same all throughout the day. They're sitting in the same spot all throughout the day. They'll pull stuff to make it work better in the narrative.
Drama because
I don't
you
need any
fight
drama.
with
Do you know
everybody.
what, Kathy? I don't need any drama.
You fought and you drove
know
Lisa
what?
Vanderpump off the show.
I drove Lisa Vanderpump off the show. Okay.
What you did to my sister?
You will know.
Never
Everybody
go
will
near
know.
my husband.
Everybody will know.
You understand that? Everybody will go after my husband.
Wow, like she really was violent. She got physical and seriously physical with her. I think a lot of us remember that moment as like her just saying like, let's talk about the husband, and Rinna getting upset. But every time I see those flashbacks, I'm always like, whoa, that was extreme.
You've had problems with everybody, with Camille Grant.
And then that look is the same look that when she got caught in that lie with Kyle.
The list can go on. And then saying that you've been bullied, you are the biggest bully in Hollywood, and everyone knows it.
Is that right?
Yeah, you are. You're mean.
Oh.
And you don't tell the truth.
Okay,
Wow.
let me.
This is so sad.
Okay,
It's so
all right.
No, it's
okay.
so sad.
Okay, so big long pause after she says the bully comment.
You are the biggest bully in Hollywood, and everyone knows it.
I don't know if it was created that way or if it actually happened that way. Whatever it is, it's wonderful. She says that, and then everyone, you get the reaction shots. You get even Lisa being quiet for a second before she makes her little comment back. It really is for impact. Usually when you're heated in conversation, there's a lot of talking over each other, you know, maybe one big pause while someone's trying to collect their thoughts, but then there's just a lot of, like, let me get my thought out quick. So I just think it's interesting. I don't know, but I just have a feeling they build these pauses, and that one was really impactful.
I'm sad
Hold
you
on,
brought
hold
this on yourself.
I want to know.
No, you brought it on yourself,
No,
my
I didn't,
sweet
darling.
dear, you did. This is between you two, and you
Yes.
need to work it out.
You know what? I wish you had said that.
What you said
That's
about your
right.
sister is
You know what?
I love those little asides in the reunion too, when they have someone sitting on the couch and they're kind of like conferring with each other, and it's not really meant to be thrown into the conversation, but I love that the mics pick it up and that the editors actually use it, like that little moment between Sutton and Garcelle. Super cute.
To me that night. Why didn't you just say, Kathy, you and Kyle love each other, you're sisters.
I couldn't. You
I'm
were
gonna go to
screaming
bed
and yelling
now.
like a
I'm not yelling at you.
You were.
I'm not yelling at you. But
You
to
were.
say that people are useless or anything
You said
about
all of that.
any one of
You
these
said
girls, I
that
swear to
about
God,
those girls.
on my life.
You did, and you said you want to ruin NBC. You're
Oh,
taking
ruin it. Lisa, you're
NBC.
great.
I think it's funny how Rinna keeps going back to the NBC thing because I think she's really like, I don't know. I think she thinks she's smarter than she is, but I think she's really like, if I keep mentioning that she wanted to take down NBC and Bravo, they'll fire her. I don't know. I don't think that that's the case.
Lisa, you're
NBC
grasping at straws.
I'm not.
What I want to know is if it's between Kathy
And Kyle.
then leave it alone.
She attacked me in the house in Aspen.
Attacked you.
Well, she abused me. It was abusive, screaming and yelling at me. Abuse doesn't have to be hitting somebody.
No, I know that.
Garcelle.
But you've screamed and yelled at people.
I'm just saying.
So,
But you're gonna hurt her.
Okay, my favorite reaction shot of the reunion. Andy says to Lisa,
But you've screamed and yelled at people.
I'm just
and she says,
so
even though she's just saying that screaming and yelling at people is abusive, Sutton's face is just so classic. Thank you, editors, for capturing that or grabbing it from somewhere else. Wherever you got it, I absolutely loved it, but I think it was actually the moment because it was just too perfect.
Doesn't want to know the specifics. She wants to be sisters with her sister.
Yeah.
So how do you then let it go?
I let it go right here and now.
You do.
Would
Yes.
you really, though?
Yes, I would. It's now on you two to work out whatever it is, and I will absolve myself from it from this day forward. I guarantee you that. And I wish you only the best.
After I've literally like a tornado created all this destruction here, now you guys can take care of it.
I really do.
Thank you.
I think people are really questioning why you...
The two-shot of Garcelle and Sutton is just killing me throughout this whole reunion because they are so kind of in sync, and I think, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of love their little friendship that they have and their little reactions, you know, to each other or to us, or sort of like I feel like they are very anchoring for us. They're anchoring us into a reality. Okay, so Lisa's definitely grasping here. She says it's a dark room. It's clearly not a dark room. Andy keeps going back at her, like they're painting her into a corner here, and it's not a bad edit. This is definitely a moment where a housewife like Lisa would be like, they didn't show everything in the reunion. I think she's actually said this too, like, I can't control how it was edited. Honey, we don't need it to be edited. I feel like I'm Kathy right now calling her honey. This is not a bad edit. All of the words coming out of your mouth are coming out of your mouth. It's not what you're not saying, it's what you're saying.
We're a f***ing monster, and that was
Okay,
that.
please, you guys.
That was that.
Okay. Were you upset with Lisa for bringing it onto the show?
I'm sorry, we have a lump in it. I can't talk now. Give me a second.
You have a lump in there?
Yeah. I feel very, put in the middle of this whole situation, and obviously.
So they're giving Kyle a lot of breathing room. Like, they could have cut a lot of that, what she's saying, and made it very much more succinct and just had her come right in with when she actually starts talking, maybe the lump in the throat straight to her actually talking. But they really give a lot of time to show her, like, physically working through this moment and tripping on her words and all that stuff. They really do that on purpose to get us to really clue into like how she's actually feeling in this moment. Okay, you guys, so I'm gonna skip forward on this. I just wanna get the Kathy walking out of this scene. I think there was just a lot that went on down with Kyle, and I just wanna kind of get that one little part where she walks out just from an editorial standpoint.
Well, I hope that the two of you can get together in the very near future.
Yeah. I love them.
Okay, so they have that little moment where they're hugging and it's so awkward. They showed Lisa Rinna's reaction, which she's obviously, again, disapproving of them making up in any sort of way. It's just very quiet as that moment happens. And again, it's to give us this feeling of total, complete awkwardness. There's no warmth in that hug. It feels, it does not feel resolved.
Kathy?
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
I know this was not fun.
Oh, yeah.
But I appreciate it. We're gonna be right back after this.
I don't know why you're mad at me. I really don't. I don't get why you're I mean, I know you very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
You never said 2 words.
Me?
I don't want to talk about
Ow.
So interesting there. Kathy is totally swallowing her words, even though she's mic'd.
You never said 2 words.
Me?
I don't want to talk about
She's like, if I can swallow my words and really talk very low here, maybe they won't pick it up. Of course they picked it up. And of course the editors used it. And this is that behind the scenes kind of in between stuff. She just did this hug with Kyle, and clearly it was not real because she's pissed.
Ow.
Once again, everything is my fault.
Bye, Kathy.
Bye.
Well, now it's literally completely done.
So as she's walking out, they kind of put that audio in of Kyle saying,
Now it's literally completely done.
as Kathy's leaving, we are seeing a visual of Kathy leaving, and we're hearing Kyle basically narrate that moment like, this is really like almost what, the last moment that I'm going to see her, or we have really put the nail in the coffin. We also get that reaction when Kathy's leaving, we get that reaction from Sutton, and Sutton's face is just so expressive. And the music, oh my God, all of it together should just kind of give us like an unfinished feeling.
Are you done?
Nightmare.
Are we getting a drink?
Okay, so they shot through the ladder, which I thought was such a cool thing. Like, she's getting her mic taken off and someone says, "Are you done?" And she just says,
Nightmare.
it's that through the ladder kind of dirty shot of like fly on the wall, like we're not supposed to see this behind the scenes. Such a great shot. If it was just straight on her face with no ladder in the foreground, we would feel like maybe she was putting it on. But in this moment right there with that ladder in the foreground, it makes us feel like she does not know a camera is on her. She does not know how she's being filmed. These are some behind the scenes feelings of what she's having from this day. And it's exciting for us. Let's just put it that way. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being with me through this entire Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season. I started my channel during this season after, wanting to start this channel for literally forever. And I finally just was like, F it, I'm gonna do it. And you guys have showed up in like the most exciting way for me. I feel like I've made so many new friends and you guys are just so smart. I love hearing from you. More than anything, I just wanna thank you guys so much for showing up, commenting, liking the video, watching, sharing it with your friends, like all of that stuff. I still can't believe it and I'm just so grateful for it. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I really have appreciated building this community with you. So until next time.
Put me on pause. I don't care.
But she's lying, so who cares? We all know she's lying.
Woo!